The AFC Champions League elite reaches the knockout stage, and tonight our cameras are in Australia as Melbourne City take on Buriram United in the first leg of their two-legged tie in the round of 16. Mild temperatures in the state of Victoria, 18 degrees. And for Melbourne City, it's a history-making night. Their fifth place finish in the league stage in the Eastern region, meaning they've qualified for the knockout rounds for the very first time in their history. Although they would have been slightly disappointed not to travel away first after being edged out of a top four spot by their opponents this evening. Buriram United have been to the quarterfinals of this competition twice, including last season, and they finished fourth in the league stage, ahead of City on goals scored, but they did lose here late on by 2-1 in the league stage. That after Goran Čačić had given them the lead, so they will be looking to avenge that defeat here tonight and take a lead back to the Thunder Castle in a week's time for the second leg. Well, no Australian team has made the quarterfinals of the AFC Champions League since Western Sydney Wanderers went all the way back in 2014. Success has been rather scarce for A-League outfits since, with Melbourne Victory the last side to make it out of the group or league stage back in 2020. But Melbourne City have changed all that. And just to the left of the screen there, you see Marcus Younis, whose late strike against Ulsan on match day 7 sent Melbourne City into raptures and into the last 16. City have not been in great form domestically. They were well beaten by Auckland FC in the A-League at the weekend. And in all competitions, they've won just one of their last 7 games. That was that 2-1 success against Ulsan, which confirmed their spot in the round of 16. The man on the right of screen there is Matt Simon, who played in this competition for the Central Coast Mariners a few seasons ago, now retired and on the backroom team of his former club. Here come Buriram on the left. They continue to sail along serenely in 5 different competitions. They are top of the Thai League by 9 points. They're into the semi-finals of the ASEAN Club Championship, the quarterfinals of the League Cup, and a 6-0 victory over Konkan United at the weekend put them into the last 4 of the Thai Cup as well. And after winning the quadruple last season, they are targeting 5 trophies this season. As I'm sure you're no doubt aware, all the round of 16 ties in the Western region have been postponed this week due to the ongoing situation in the Middle East. So the knockout phase begins in the Eastern region and here in Australia tonight. It's a rather early kickoff time for Australian fans. It's not the biggest crowd inside the Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. Approaching 6:45 p.m. local time. Plenty in the crowd here to cheer on Buriram. Big Thai community in Australia, particularly in Victoria. So they'll get plenty of backing here this evening. All in readiness for the arrival of the 2 teams who have met on 3 previous occasions in this competition. Melbourne City have won 2 of those 3, but did suffer their first ever home loss in this competition against Buriram in 2023. A 1-0 defeat, and the goal scorer that day, yeah, you guessed it, that man again, Goran Čačić, who scored again in the 2-1 victory for City in October at this venue. Aziz Bayek, the Melbourne City captain, the only City player with experience of the knockout stage in Asia. He played in the quarterfinals last year during his loan spell with Al Nassr. Actually got injured in that game, and that was his last appearance for the Saudi Giants. So the official AFC Champions League Elite Anthem draws to a close. The teams will do the high fives, and in a moment we will check on the team news for the two teams. Let's start with Melbourne City, who make 3 changes from the 11 that started against Auckland in the A-League at the weekend. Harry Shillington comes in at right back, with Nathaniel Atkinson shifting into midfield. German Ferreira returns after being rested for the trip to New Zealand, and Medin Mehmeti will lead the attack. Harrison Delbridge, Zane Schreiber and top scorer Max Caputo all drop down to the bench. And as mentioned, captain Aziz Bayek, the only player for City with experience in the knockout stage in Asia. There he is, to shake hands with his opposite number, Goran Čaušić. Our match referee this evening, Khaled Al-Turais from Saudi Arabia. His assistants, Mohammed Al-Abakri and Abdul Rahim Al-Shamari. Faisal Al-Balawi is the 4th official. And in terms of VAR, duties falling tonight to Abdullah Al-Shahiri and Sami Al-Jurais. Now, Buriram had the luxury of resting many of their first-teamers for that cup tie with Konkan United. Most returned today, including relatively new arrival Eduardo Mancha, the Brazilian defender, and ex-Melbourne City captain Curtis Good. Supachai Chaided is the only Thai player in that 11. Captain Goran Čaušić has scored twice against City in the Champions League. Guillaume Bissoli is the club's top scorer. He has a remarkable 32 goals in 35 matches in all competitions. And another new arrival, the Dane Kasper Juncker, who won the Champions League with Urawa 4 years ago, is among the substitutes. Goalkeeper Neil Etheridge, who was rested for that Thai Cup quarter-final at the weekend, which Buriram won by 6 goals to 0. Robert Joule scoring a hat-trick. There's the Buriram coach. Mark Jackson knows Australian football well, of course, after winning the treble with Central Coast Mariners back in 23-24, aiming to become that rarest of breeds, a coach that wins both of Asia's senior club competitions. There is Robert Joule, scorer of that hat-trick at the weekend. Daniel Arzani, who started the last couple of games in the A-League for Melbourne City. He's on loan from Ferencvaros. Marcus Yunus on loan from Brøndby in Denmark. So 180 minutes ahead to decide who will go through to the quarter-final. Maybe a bit more, of course, if they end up level. Melbourne City with 1 win already over Buriram in this year's competition. Can they repeat that trick and give themselves something to defend next week? Aurelio Vidmar will hope so. He knows Thai football well after stints in charge of BG Pathum United, Bangkok Glass and Bangkok United, where he won the Thai Champions Cup in 2021. Buriram in the, well, I guess you could call it all salmon strip tonight. Melbourne City in their traditional light blue. Attempted ball over the top was just about stopped by Buriram Ferreira. Buriram looking to start on the front foot. Andres Kuhn beaten in the air. And the loose ball favouring Buriram, and Kingsley Schindler will race after it down the right and go for the early cross, which is blocked by Aziz Bayic and out for a throw. Positive start for Mark Jackson's team. And the first conversation with the fourth official already. I dare say it won't be the last. Kingsley Schindler, German-born, with a long launch, not quite long enough as it turned out. Andreas Kuhn's just gone down inside his own penalty area. Quite sure what happened there. Yeah, headed the ball in the wrong part of the head. I think it whacked him on the ear. Bit of a bell ringer for the Austrian. He's contributed 3 assists in the domestic competition this year. Yet to score. He's quite good in that regard last season in his debut campaign in Australia. Radio Vidmaru led Adelaide United to the final of this competition back in 2008, where they were beaten by Gamba Osaka. Looking to do the same with Melbourne City, where he won the domestic crown for just the second time in the club's history in 2025. This is Ko Myung-sok, the Korean. Loose ball favouring Bayic. Ko Myung-sok with a bit of a shank off the right boot. Arrived at the club from Daegu during the off-season. Chausic doing well to prevent the corner. Will be a Melbourne City throw. End of the ground, where he scored the opening goal in the league stage meeting between the two, but Melbourne City were able to come back and find a way to win 2-1. It's Mehdi Mehmeti, hustled out of it by Peter Zul, the two brothers in the Buriram starting 11 this evening. Steered back by Schindler. Further back by Sandy Walsh, the Indonesian international. Very eclectic mix, the Buriram starting 11. All sorts of different nationalities represented. Mancha, the Brazilian, Good, the Australian, Ko, the Korean. That's just the back three. Arzani going to ground and earning the free kick. Under the weight of that challenge from Sandy Walsh. Two number 14s in direct combat. Did have a grab of Arzani's jersey. Arzani making sure that the referee saw it, but it was a foul. Early chance for Melbourne City to Send the likes of German Ferreira forward. Neil Etheridge on red alert. Sent in by Bajic. Really good clearing header by Walsh. Back with Arzani. Clever idea. Slightly overhit by the Melbourne City winger. Earlier, Vidmar accused his team of being way too passive against Auckland in the league at the weekend. Said he expects to see a lot more from his side tonight. They've made a relatively decent start. Certainly had more of the possession than their opponents. We've got 2, even 3 balls on the pitch at the moment. Two have been dispensed with as of now. And Neil Etheridge, the Filipino international, is finally happy with his choice. He was rested for that cup quarter-final at the weekend. Chachai Butprom wearing the gloves and keeping a clean sheet in that 6-0 win. Mark Jackson has a big squad, but given that they're battling on 5 different fronts, he probably needs those numbers. Melbourne City, much smaller. Full group of around 16 or 17. Must do battle on 2 different fronts. Here's Bajic scampering forward. Arzani. Breaks here for Shillington. Still not completely away for Buriram. Teague sending Atkinson backwards off the head of Eunice, and then Shillington with a foul. And pressure relieved on Buriram. Melbourne City fans, certainly not the best supported club in the domestic competition. City rivals Melbourne Victory, of course, arrived in the competition a good few years before them. Atkinson, just too strong as he sought out the run of Mehdi Mehmeti. Interesting that Mehmeti has been preferred at the point of the attack to top scorer Max Caputo this evening. Meantime, a foul by Nathaniel Atkinson on Robert Zuul. Full caps for Australia. Nathaniel Atkinson matching his shirt number. And the first chance for Buriram to exert some attacking pressure. There's Supachai in the foreground, 33, rather 42 caps for his national team. Off the head of Supriyan, and drill wide in the end by Robert Zuul. Decent sight of goal there for Mark Jackson's team. First real shot in anger by the side. It was well wide in the end. No need for Patrick Beach to throw himself across the face of goal. Here's Peter Zul. Back through Eduardo Mancha. Nicely controlled by Andreas Kuhn. Sadly for Melbourne City, not quite the pass to match it. Mancha with the throw. Yunus. Held up by Eduardo Mancha. Here's Bajic for City. Arzani. Pass behind Kuhn. Curtis good with time. Eduardo Mancha was being impeded by Mehdi Mehmeti. Those players that have come through the ranks. Originally from Dandenong, which is just outside Melbourne. Etheridge with the long launch. Steadied down by Robert Zul. It's going to be a free kick for the rather rudimentary foul on Mehdi Mehmeti, and the first yellow card of the evening arrives, and it goes the way of the Buriram skipper. Goran Časić, the offender. All the yellow cards, incidentally, from the league stage are wiped in anticipation of the knockouts. So no danger as yet of yellow card accrual and suspensions. Časić has just put himself one step closer to that. That's Scott Jamieson on the right, who was Melbourne City's captain when they first won the A-League back in 2021, now assistant to Aurelio Vidmar. Patrick Beach's punt upfield. Drop here for Mehmeti. Here's Andreas Kuhn. He wanted to try and pick out a teammate. Still there for Arzani. Seen clear for now by Curtis Good, former Melbourne City favourite. There's a little bump on Harry Shillington there from Bisoli. So a free kick for the home side. Clear shove by the Brazilian. Both hands in the small of the back of Shillington. Here's the moment where it's opened up for Andreas Kuhn. He was onside. Maybe felt the angle was too narrow to have a shot. Superchai told to keep his distance from the free kick. Wall of two along with Robert Zul. Bajic feints, Arzani takes, and the shot comes in from Supriya, and it's a good save from Etheridge. Buriram believing that Marcus Yunus had committed a foul. First shot on target. And it comes off the boot of Samuel Supriya. Here's Bajic in space. Rather weak cross into the box. Quick release from Etheridge. Credit to Aziz Bajic, who was very much aware of that potential for the quick counter. Cut out by Substitution. Another look at that coming together between Schindler and Younes. Younes also may well have been offside. And that ball ended up going in the back of the net. Cyprien, who ended up having the shot. He's gained good territory for his team. Certainly not a regular goal scorer by any means, Samuel Cyprien. He had his problems with soft tissue injuries this season. Hasn't actually scored in the A-League since December 2024 for Melbourne City. And he got one against the Central Coast Mariners. It's handball against Robert Zuhl. Bringing the arm down onto the ball. Pretty sure he's saying to the referee, where is my arm supposed to go? Bajic. Arzani in space, looking to hang it up back post. Wasn't the best delivery in all honesty. Still alive for Younes. Shillington, nobody's gone with Atkinson. Another rather weak cross though. It's two poor deliveries for Melbourne City players who were both unmarked. Didn't really make the most of those opportunities. Daniel Arzani, the one-time wonder kid of Australian football. Burst onto the scene with Melbourne City as a teenager. Ended up going to the World Cup in Russia in 2018. His career has somewhat stalled since then. It's a foul by Teague. Did work his way back into the Socceroos last year, Daniel Arzani. Clear shove by Ryan Teague, who's also a part of the national team setup these days. World Cup spots to be gained, of course, for North America in a few months' time. 100 days today until the final start. That one Samuel Cyprien shot on target so far. First legs of knockout ties can sometimes be rather cagey affairs. Normally you can't win a tie in the first leg, but you can lose it, as the old saying goes. Schindler's throw. Away by Younes, helped on by Kuhn. Back in by Sandy Walsh. Schindler. Loose ball favouring Chausic. Should be Patrick Beaches. Comfortable enough to play. Knocked off balance. Promising situation for Buriram. Cross just angled too close to Patrick Beach. There's that bump by Kingsley Schindler on Ryan Teague. Nice header straight at Schindler. Peter Zul. Turned back by Eduardo Mancha. Myung-sok. Sandy Walsh being pressured by Arzani. Back to Etheridge. Curran, fancy was coming back from an offside position there. That's confirmed by the assistant's flag. Nadia Vidmar likes what he's seeing so far. City really have saved their best forage of this season. Beaten now in 6 Champions League matches. They've won 4, drawn the other 2 of those 6. It's very much been built on a very resolute defence. They've conceded only 4 goals in that 6-game spell. Buriram, for their part, are 5 unbeaten in the Champions League. Mark Jackson's team on a run of 6 consecutive victories in 3 different competitions, during which period they've scored 24 goals and conceded just the 1. Last defeat was on the 1st of February, 2-0 home loss to Bangkok United. One of only 2 domestic reverses all season. Rebound off Arzani. Sent long by Myung-sok. Zulj steadying things down for Buriram. Eduardo Mancha. Sandy Walsh. Schindler. Pass forward was some pretty serious pressure for skipper Goran Časić. A rather untidy passage of play from both teams. Ferreira with time. Patrick Beach had options, but it was a poor release. Here's Peter Zul. He gets Buriram's first shot on target. Just a routine save for Beach after his error. Walsh with the interception. Schindler. Just outnumbered. Curran gets City moving. It's Mehdi Mehmeti. It's a little ambitious from the youngster. He's without a goal in his last 5 matches now. Scored 5 this season, including one against Johor in the Champions League Elites. Flicked off the head of Supriyan. Buriram throw. 37 years of age now, Samuel Supriyan. Hugely experienced left-sided central defender. He Played 50 matches in Ligue 1 in France, 22 in Serie A in Italy for good measure. Foul by Mehmeti on Ko Myung-sok. Chance for the players to have a bit of a breather. Incidentally, we will have a break at some point during the evening for players who are observing Ramadan to break their fast. Mark Jackson, who faced Melbourne City on 5 occasions in the A-League during his time as Central Coast Mariners coach, he only lost 1 of those 5. Well, Buriram's press has worked. Fortunately for them, the release from Robert Zoul wasn't the best. Arzani. Can't pick out Kuhn. Here's Šaušić. Walsh. Way back to Curtis Good. 180 appearances in City Blue. His mistake doesn't lead to a goal-scoring opportunity for his former club. Here he is again on the ball. Not actually registered to play in the domestic league. Given that Buriram play so many cup games, still seeing plenty of action. For Arzani left short. Driving forward is Robert Zoul. It's nicely worked. Substitution looking to take on Harry Shillington. Ko Myung-sok. Schindler with time to get the head up and have a look what's available. First shot is repelled by Substitution, and then Shillington gets in the way of the cross from Peter Zoul. They were just stretched there for a moment, Melbourne City. Went through the legs of Nathaniel Atkinson. Substitution's shot rebounded. Shillington putting his body on the line. Another attempt at the long launch from Kingsley Schindler. In fact, he's gone short. Change of angle. Schindler's cross. It's an important touch off the head of Supriyan. Arzani trying to break clear. Isn't quite able to do that. Walsh. And off the shins of Arzani and out for a throw. Arzani very nearly setting up a counter for Melbourne City. Schindler, there was a foul by Arzani on Walsh. So the referee will bring them back. Daniel Arzani still frustrated by the previous passage of play. Sandy Walsh none the worse for wear. They were quite the battle, those two. The two number 14s. Already a bit more unhappy with the positioning of the ball here. Sent in towards the near post where they had a player free in Superchai. Did Buriram. Sent forward by Supriya. And Marcus Yunus onto it. Has Atkinson in support. Here is Atkinson, three waiting in the middle. Cross is a poor one from the Socceroo. Yunus initially released by a ball over the top. It's a good situation for Aurelio Vidmar's team. The Melbourne City coach has picked up a yellow card for that protest over the positioning of the free kick. So he's going to have to watch his step, or certainly watch what he's saying over the next 60 minutes. Melbourne City not yet quite able to get their two tricky wingers, Arzani and Yunus, fully into the game. Yunus, who was excellent against Ulsan in that vital league stage victory, goal and an assist. City 1-2-1. Schindler jabbed it through at the second attempt, but straight at Bajic. Atkinson. Bajic once more. Metti was all wrapped up. Teague. Kewen. Heavy first touch favoured Schindler, and then Kewen, in reaching for the ball, committed the foul. Schindler, plenty of top-flight experience in Europe. He was playing in the Turkish Super League last season with Samsunspor. Prior to that, he played in Germany for the likes of Hanover and FC Köln, Hoffenheim. It's going to be his throw. Got his first goal for the club recently as well against Cebu in the ASEAN Club Championship. Out of Teague. There's plenty of chit-chat going on down there. Curtis Good. Easy pickings for Patrick Beach. Now a full Australian international after making his debut against Venezuela. One man of the match honours as well in that game. Sent forward by Bajic. He's got over 80 caps for his country. Ferreira will see that one safely behind for Melbourne City. And the stalemate persists between these two, who finished 4th and 5th in the Eastern Region League stage. Buriram just edging the numbers. Not an awful lot in it. One shot on target apiece. Schindler might be about to change all that. Oh, it's a wonderful goal from Guillaume Bissoli. He took it early, and that deceived Patrick Beach. And Buriram strike first, and it's their top goal scorer, Guillaume Bissoli, with a quite brilliant hit. Kingsley Schindler did well to find the gap. The angle was narrow, but he took it early. What a hit that is. Patrick Beach probably steadying himself for the cross, and instead it's just fairly flown past him into the roof of the net. What a goal by Bissoli. And just like they did in October in the league stage last year, Buriram strike first against Melbourne City. Well, make that 33 goals in 36 matches in all competitions for Guillaume Bissoli. The adrenaline still pumping. He might have a yellow card to go with his goal in a minute. It's a silly challenge with the ball long gone. He's escaped with just a warning. Big blow that for Melbourne City in their first ever knockout game in this competition. They came from behind last time against Buriram. They're going to have to do the same again if they're to maintain their interest in this competition. It's clever play by Arzani, reaching the leg across to draw in the contact from Kingsley Schindler. City looking to strike back immediately. Bajic with the set piece. Thumped away to safety by Robert Zoul. Test here for Shillington. And he got a bit of a whack from Bissoli. He's going to have to watch his step. That's 2 fouls now in the space of a couple of minutes. Arzani. Room here for Bajic. Can he find the right cross? Still has his Bajic. Just wouldn't quite get through to Marcus Yunus. Good intervention by Eduardo Mancha for Buriram. Superchai losing out. Atkinson. It's going to be a Buriram throw. There's that chance for Melbourne City. Bajic does well, cutting back on the right boot. He knew exactly where he wanted that ball to go. The Brazilian defender read it well. Bajić's touch doesn't pick out a teammate. Launched forward by Eduardo Mancha. And sliced into the stand by the Argentine Germán Ferreira. He was arrested at the weekend for the trip to Auckland, specifically to prepare him for tonight's clash. He's played every minute so far this season in the Champions League for Melbourne City. Well, Yunus did the hard part, and then was errant with the pass. In his attempts to win the ball back, he's committed the infringement. Still plenty of chat going on. Robert Joule told to button it by Khaled Al Turais, the Saudi Arabian official. Foul counts. Goes up to 17 in total. Well, even at this early stage of the tie, Melbourne City surely can't afford to concede a second. Peter Zul's free kick, and that came off Bajić. Out for a corner. It's quite a shiner that Substitution is sporting. He's had his problems with facial injuries in the past. Needed 19 stitches in a head wound, sustained in a tie league game against Bangkok United a year or two back. Robert Joule sending up the signal. Referee's not quite yet ready. Curtis Good using that physical stature to try and impose himself on Germán Ferreira. Referee keeping a beady eye on those proceedings. It's like all in wrestling in there. Ferreira in particular, of course, has got to be careful as the defender. Good still causing mischief. Was in towards Curtis Good. City deal with it. Looking to spring clear, and Yunus has got away from Kingsley Schindler at the moment. Across the face, but Travis Kuhn wasn't quite up with the play. Still alive for Bajić here. Atkinson lost his balance. And the ball. A little bit better from Marcus Yunus. Atkinson with the ball into the box, partly away by Good. Volleyed further clear by Substitution. Here's Kuhn. And that's a corner off Sandy Walsh. Half-time, pretty close now. City would love to get back on level terms. Just the one save so far for Neil Etheridge. Just 1 minute to be added at the end of the opening 45. Arzani's corner. Bajić. Atkinson still plenty forward for City. They can find the right angle for the cross. Shillington. Wide left is Arzani. Might have just got a bobble, Daniel Arzani. It's ended up in about row J. That is half-time. Plenty of endeavour from both teams. One very special finish by that player, Guillaume Bassoli. His 33rd goal of the season. How big could that goal prove to be in the context of this two-legged tie? Aside of that, not too much work for either goalkeeper. But that's why goal scorers get paid the big bucks. And that was something quite special from Guillaume Bassoli. Melbourne City will need to do a bit better in the attacking third in the second half if they're to turn this one around. At the break, it's Melbourne City 0, Buriram United 1.
Best airline in the Middle East, world's best business class lounge. And yes, still a Skytrax 5-star airline. That's a lot of best, but none of it happens without the best passenger. Thank you for flying with us. And for voting for us, we go further because of you.
Everyone's crazy about football. But boxing, that's a never-ending game of tactics. One more move, game over. Tennis, a marathon with a racket. When it goes wrong, you become your own worst enemy. I think for football, I say for more.
Football teaches us how to win, as well as how to accept defeat gracefully.
Then go on to do our best in the next game.
For this trail, boys, let your opponents and teammates remember your name. Let play a role in the future of football. With Kelly, leave your mark.
But we love it. It's gonna happen.
City fans, it is halftime here at Melbourne. Rectangular stadium in Arzani, trailing the goal to nil against Thailand's Buriram United. And here we have an entire Melbourne City family with us ready to take on another Asian Champions League elite quiz. Today the theme is geography. Who am I here with? Liana, who introduce us to your own large Melbourne City family? Who have we got? Say hello on the rectangular stadium. All right, Liana, back to you here. We have 6 sets of cities. God, that's a tough quiz here at Melbourne Rectangular Stadium. We're going to go through them one by one, and it is up to you to guess which of the 2 cities that I named has the bigger population. Does that make sense? All right, first set of cities. Shanghai, China, or Sao Paulo, Brazil. Which one has the bigger population? And you can use 6 phone friends as well. Phone friend, who are you asking? Paul, what do you reckon? Shanghai, China, or Sao Paulo, Brazil? Has anyone got the phone on it? Shanghai, China is correct. 1 from 1. All right, Liana, that is now a disqualification, so you cannot use phone friend for this next round. Mexico City, Mexico, or Delhi, India? Someone for the answer. Delhi, India is correct. 2 from 2 makes the most of it. All right, who are we close to home now? Perth, Australia, or Auckland, New Zealand? Auckland. Try again. Perth is correct. Wow. 3 from 3 here at Melbourne Rectangular Stadium tonight. All right, moving nicely. Okay, you've got phone and friend up to that. Will Paul get the call in this next one? Paris, France, or Milan, Italy? Phone friend, Paul, up to you. Paris, France, or Milan, Italy? Paris is correct, City fans. 4 from 4. All right, moving on to question number 5. Amsterdam, Netherlands, or Berlin, Germany? Berlin is correct. All right, 6. This is the system 6. Bangkok, Thailand, or Seoul, South Korea? What do you reckon? Seoul is correct, City fans. 6 from 6. Leon, you had your doubts. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, absolutely.
On top of the world around the second half against Melbourne City, taking on Buriram United. This one's too far away.
Well, Melbourne City out early for the second half. Eager to turn things around here against Buriram, who lead by a goal to nil. A brilliant strike from Guillaume Basoli. City only had the 1 session to prepare for this game. They only arrived back from New Zealand after their loss to Auckland on Sunday. As for Buriram, well, the job half done here. Guillaume Basoli with yet another goal. That now makes it 94 goals in 116 competitive matches wearing Buriram colours. He scored a hat-trick in his last outing in the Thai League against Sukhothai. Melbourne City looking to preserve their 6-game unbeaten run in this competition. They haven't lost since match day 2 against Vissel Kobe. They've got a bit to do in this second half. And of course, not just to get square, but they would love to take a lead to the Thunder Castle for the second leg next week. So City getting us back underway. No changes made by either coach at the break, and immediately Bissoli closing down Samuel Supriyan and putting Melbourne City under immediate pressure. Helped on by Mehmeti. Sent forward by Kom Yong Sok for Buriram. Here's Supachai. Trying to get away from Harry Shillington. And earning the first quarter of the second half for Buriram United. Patrick Beach beaten at the near post by that early take from Bissoli. Bissoli just having a little look at the goalkeeper's positioning before firing a brilliant effort into the roof of the net. Let's see if Buriram can add to that. Well, this is now a feature of every game. The referee getting in amongst the players. Set piece is such an important part of football, particularly in the modern day. Robert Zoul's corner, it's gone all the way through. Looked like there was a handball in there. Yeah, Supachai shot, well saved in the end by Beach, but there was a hand in play prior to that, and the whistle had gone. Before Supachai's effort. Just flicked off the hand of Curtis Good. Beach wasn't to know that, of course. Curtis Good, who scored in Buriram's 2-0 win over Shanghai Shenhua in their last Champions League outing. For the thoughts of Aurelio Vidmar. I wonder what was said in that dressing room and how fresh his players are after that journey back from New Zealand. Games coming thick and fast for both these clubs at the moment. Although Melbourne City, domestically at least, do have a bit of grace. Their next league game is against Sydney FC at home on the 17th of March. Such joys for Buriram. They go to Nakhon Ratchasima in the Thai League at the weekend. So they look to extend their 9-point lead at the top. Their bid for a 5th consecutive domestic title. A little tangle between Schindler and Supriyan. Left the Frenchman writhing around on the turf. Yeah, it's that arm across the face as Kingsley Schindler fell. Has done the damage. The nose of Farrell cracked, didn't he? Might be a bit of a delay here whilst Supriyan is assessed. Looks to be okay, and there's no blood, I don't think, from that nose. Saw one though. Andy Walsh on the turn. Crossfield by Aziz Bayic, but the intervention by Eduardo Mancha. Mopped up by Atkinson for Melbourne City. Bayic to send it wide. Arzani. City need a bit more out of both Arzani and Younis on the flanks. They've been well stifled in this back three or back five system of Buriram. Can switch between the two systems. Sometimes play with the back four, sometimes a three, which inevitably, of course, becomes a five once they are defending. Forward by T. Protected by Arzani. Back by Supriyan, and this is Ferreira. Shillington. Not really creating much at the moment, Melbourne City, which is music to the ears of Mark Jackson. Enjoyed such success in Australia with the Central Coast Mariners. Well, it did turn a little sour towards the end. High expectations at Buriram as Younis robs Mancha of the ball, squares it up for Atkinson. Wide left is Arzani. Here's Aziz Bayic. And it's straight at Etheridge in the end. A good move that by City. First shot on target of the second half. This is Bayic, always full of running. Shillington. Younis. Ferreira. Just weren't too many options really for the Argentine. Shillington. Younis used as the decoy. Still Shillington. And down goes Mehmeti. Looking for a penalty. Nothing doing. City have to settle for a throw. Yeah, not enough in that. Only the gentlest of contacts. Younis. That's great feet from Marcus Younis. Still going. Can he find the right cross? Arzani at the back post. Bayic almost lost his footing. City still with the ball. Kuhn was very tightly marked. It's great work from Robert Zool. City throw though. Radio Vidmars certainly had a response from his team after the break. I think the throw-in's been given to Buriram, which is rather confusing. It seemed as though the last touch came off Buriram player. Given away carelessly by Kuhn. It's back to atone for the error. With Chausic in hot pursuit. City able to break clear. Bayage. Kuhn having to try and weave his way through traffic. Helped out by Atkinson. Here's Teague. Key period of the game, this, you sense. Melbourne City trying to establish some authority over the game. And Buriram so far resisting. Helped on by their supporters in the stands. Bayage. Go after the return. Slid out of play by Kingsley Schindler. Arzani. Oh, that's clever from Daniel Arzani. Quite get the end result he hoped for. And then Arzani with a little kick out to relieve that pressure on Buriram. They hurt as well. Raking the studs down the back of the Achilles. Looks to be okay though. Mark Jackson will have expected this sort of pressure. No way through for Mehmeti. Sorted out by Good. Sent long by Eduardo Mancha. It's a good touch by Shillington. Teague. Wanted to take the free kick quickly. Referee not of a mind to let them. And that will now be a mini break for the players who are observing Ramadan, who are about to break their fast. This is an initiative that's going to play out all across the Champions League Elite round of 16 ties. Saw this in the Premier League, of course, at the weekend as well. Samuel Suprian is one of those observing the holy period. We can have a look at how the goal arrived. Kingsley Schindler with great work, and look at this for a finish from Bisoli. Absolutely top draw. Nothing Patrick Beach could do. Schindler finding the gap. The angle was very acute. Goodness me. Beach surely wasn't expecting Bisoli to score from there, but he did. Just that little look to see where the goalkeeper was positioned. Fabulous strike from the Brazilian. So the Ramadan break is over. Melbourne City have just over half an hour plus stoppages to try and turn this one around, as they did in October when they trailed. Left it pretty late to win the game. Here's Atkinson. Teague. Yunus not able to keep the ball in play. Started life with Western Sydney Wanderers. Marcus Yunus made the move to Denmark with Brøndby, and is back in the A-League on loan. It's like we might be about to see a Buriram change. Supernat Mianta is one of those being readied. Cyprian's header straight at Pasoli, but he was able to recover. Cyprian once again. Atkinson. Buriram have been very diligent in their work tonight, given City a moment's peace to try and settle on the ball.
Substitution for Buriram United, number 99, Substitution.
Here is that change. It's one super for another. Super Chai takes his leave, and Supernat is with us. There is a third super player as well, Supernat's brother, Super Chok. All three full Thailand internationals. Here's the new man, nicknamed Bank. Has 6 goals in 14 matches in the Champions League Elite, including 3 in this year's competition. 33 full caps for Thailand. Arzani. Ferreira. Tass has bisected both Shillington and Yunus.
Ready, Marcus, ready!
All rather frustrating for Melbourne City. I wonder if Aurelio Vidmar is also pondering changes. Has his top scorer, Max Caputo, on the bench. Maybe a bit more of a physical presence up against the likes of Curtis Good and Eduardo Mancha, who's on the ball now. Back through Chasic, the captain. Here is Peter Zul, 11 times capped by the Australian national team, the younger of the two brothers. Supernat slaloming through the challenges, at least initially. Now Buriram have to scramble back. Arzani. Find the right delivery. Just dipping, it was an awkward one for Good. He defended it really well. Back with Atkinson. Wide by Shillington. Yunus. Turning back out for Harry Shillington. Yunus again. He's not beaten his man on too many occasions tonight, Marcus Yunus, which is a big part of his game. Squared up by Atkinson. Kuhn. Looking back post for Bajic, and Sandy Walsh wasn't about to take any risks. It's a corner for Melbourne City. as they look to build some pressure. Have scored a lot of late goals in this year's Champions League. Melbourne City, including quite a few from off the bench as well. Not quite at that period of the game just yet. Here's Arzani's latest corner, headed away by Curtis Good at the near post. Bayich into the channel for Mehdi Mehmeti. It's a disappointing one for the home side, who remain unable to put Neil Etheridge under any real pressure. Just that one shot from Aziz Bayich to deal with so far in the second half, and who's kept 4 clean sheets in 8 Champions League elite matches so far this season, including in the last 2. Another one tonight, and Buriram will surely be strong favourites to go through, with the home leg still to come. Walsh. Here's Schindler. Important touch from Cyprian. Arzani. He's caught late there, Daniel Arzani. Play will go on for the moment, but referee might come back to that. Yunus. Arzani still out of the picture at the moment. Atkinson trying to find the angle for the cross, but couldn't wrap his boot around it. Now what action does the referee take as Melbourne City prepare to make a double change? Max Caputo and Kavian Rahmani are the 2 players to come on. Harry Shillington and Mehdi Mehmeti, the 2 players to be replaced. Max Caputo in particular, a player they'll be looking to. He's their top scorer in the Champions League this season with 3. Has 4 goals in 9 Champions League matches all up. And is the club's top scorer in all competitions with 10 so far this season. One of those goals for Caputo was the winner against Buriram back in October. Sandy Walsh, by the way, shown a yellow card for that challenge on Daniel Arzani some moments ago. Change is also imminent for Buriram. That's Ruben Sanchez, one of their more recent arrivals. Landed at the club in December from AGMK, the club in Uzbekistan. Here's the goal scorer, Bisoli. Up on by Arzani, Caputo. That's a good ball. Rahmani, and here's Marcus Yunus. Big chance this for Melbourne City. It's Yunus, squares it up. Oh, that should have been 1-1. And Arzani with a complete miskick, with the goal gaping. They won't get a better opportunity than that, Melbourne City. Yunus perhaps could have gone on his own. Max Caputo really made it with that very clever pass. Rahmani placed it out in front of Yunus. And actually, you know, I reckon Arzani might have been offside, even if he had scored. Huge frustration for Aurelio Vidmar. Big, big chance for Melbourne City. Just over 20 minutes remaining. Rahmani. Oh, heavy off the boot of Caputo. Here's Supernat. Well, Yunus, fully aware of his options, chose to square it for Arzani, and he got it all wrong.
Substitution for Buriram United, number 14, Sandy Walsh.
Sandy Walsh, who's been booked, of course, and good to see a little handshake between him and Daniel Arzani. They've been going at it for most of the night. So Ruben Sanchez is on. Former Toledo and Sporting Gijón and Granada player. Spent the last couple of years in Uzbekistan, first with Serkon Temes and then latterly with AGMK before pitching up in Thailand in December. He's got 3 goals in 10 games, by the way, since signing. In the various competitions that Buriram are involved in. Ahead of Ferreira. This is Yunus. Foul by Supernat. Just cutting across the line of the Melbourne City winger. Ferreira nipping in ahead of Bisoli. Sorted out in midfield though by Chausic. Sanchez. Back through Ko Myung-sok. Offside against Supernat. Happy to accept the throw. Melbourne City looking for a bit of magic from one of their 2 wingers. The only other game in the AFC Champions League Elite round of 16 today is in the Eastern region. Gangwon hosting Machida Zelvia, who won the league stage. Their first attempt at the competition. Couple more ties in the East tomorrow. What's going to happen with those matches in the Western zone remains to be seen with the ongoing situation in the Gulf. I guess it also, to some extent, puts the hub from the quarterfinals onwards in Jeddah in some doubt as well. All that's for the future. Meantime, there's an issue with Peter Zul. Rather gingerly back to his feet. Time on Buriram's side. Forward by Ko Myung-sok, out for a City throw. Their need is the greater. Their urgency, therefore, so much more. Etheridge straight at Ferreira. Cut out by Supernat. This is Robert Zoul. Ruben Sanchez. Schindler just showed too much of it to Arzani. Kuhn was a little slow in getting the ball released. Combination between Arzani and Teague. Look how quickly Buriram get numbers around the ball. Arzani trying to find an opening. One doesn't present itself. Sanchez happy to take the throw off the boot of Cyprian. That brow growing increasingly furrowed. Stumble by Basoli, but he's managed to find his teammate Supernat. Here's Basoli once again. To curl it in the opposite corner from whence he scored. Chasic. Hassled and harried by Caputo. Eduardo Mancha, they worked that well. Chasic. No foul by Atkinson. Ferreira goes long. Curtis Good should be able to tidy this one up, and does at the expense of a throw. Kuhn. Not quite been on his game tonight, the Austrian midfielder for Melbourne City. Arzani wins the ball fairly. Can he find the back of the net here? Sadly for Melbourne City, nowhere near. Perfectly legal win of the ball. Elbasan Rashani, who's had real injury problems since signing for Melbourne City after spending last year with Elche in Spain, is being readied. He got 14 minutes off the bench against Auckland at the weekend. Andreas Kuhn's number is called. Rather disappointing night for him. Elbasan Rashani, who got his first goal for Melbourne City against Buriram. The equalizer on match day 3 in the league stage. He's on to see if he can repeat the trick. Here's his first involvement. To run down a blind alley somewhat. Rashani's natural position is to play wide on that left-hand side, where Daniel Arzani is already stationed, so it'll be interesting to see if they combine well, or perhaps even get in each other's way. Meantime, Bayic has got a problem. Melbourne City skipper prepared to play through the pain barrier. Taking his position for this free kick, about to be delivered by Robert Zoul. And a clean take by Beach. precious little to do in the second half. As Buriram have sought to protect that 1-0 lead given to them by Guillaume Bissoli. We're going to have another late show from Melbourne City. Arzani. Break here for Rashani. Whistle's gone against the Melbourne City player. He's got a yellow card as well. Turning into Goran Chausic. Treading on the foot of the Buriram skipper. Not sure he could really have known where Chausic was as he had his back to him, but certainly not the position of his foot, but yellow card it is. Just the third one of the night, or 4 if you include Aurelio Vidmar, the Melbourne City coach, who was cautioned a little earlier. All over the top by Ko Myong-sok. Has picked up a yellow card as well. That's header back from Ferreira, catching Beach unawares. Vidmar wearing the look of a rather resigned man at the moment. It's been a real struggle for his team. Created a little bit more in the second half. Not nearly enough for his liking, I'd warrant. To take the corner, freshly booked. Change of angle. Shaw will fire it in for another corner off the globs of Beach. Was angling in towards that bottom corner. Needed keeping out by the Melbourne City custodian. It's going to be the more conventional corner this time. It is towards the near post, and Beach just got one fist to the ball. Wasn't the most elegant of clearances with the punch, but it did the job. Chausic. All the way back to Curtis Good. Etheridge having to be quick with the feet. Here's Arzani. Supriyan. Stick for Rashani. Ko Myong-sok. Sanchez battling away for possession with Bajic, who is furious that the verdict has gone the other way. Six of one, half a dozen of the other, really. Buriram get the decision. There's a bit of room here for Sanchez on the right. In comes the cross, and Bisoli should have perhaps put the tie beyond doubt. Well, they've not created much in the second half, Buriram. But that was a gilt-edged opportunity, and he had a clear sight of goal, Bisoli, from Robert Zoul's cross. I don't think Beach would have got there. Bisoli planted his header wide of the post. A let-off for Melbourne City. 2-0, you fancy that really would have been a huge mountain to climb in Thailand next week. Sent forward by Supriyan. Chasic has gone down. I think he got an arm across the face from Caputo. Buriram have handled the ball. It's going to be a free kick for Melbourne City when play does resume, I think. Yeah, just that little slap across the face by Caputo. There's a bit of blood dripping from the nose of the Buriram captain. New shirt's been called for as well. Chasic is saying to the referee, look at the evidence. Mark Jackson's view is clear. It was an intentional slap. The New Jersey. Kitman dispatched down the tunnel. They're going to have to stop the bleeding from that nose before they make the change of shirt. That normally does the job. Wash the blood off that jersey so it doesn't drip onto the new one. Running repairs almost complete, and we're now entering the period of the game where Melbourne City have done some of their best work in this year's AFC Champions League elites. They've scored a lot of late goals. That one was left just a fraction short of Arzani. And Eduardo Mancha is left writhing around in pain on the floor from that coming together with Arzani. Magic spray applied to the Brazilian defender, who was with Letran Kofu in Japan when they won the Emperor's Cup in 2022. Made the move to Thailand in January. An interesting playing career after leaving Guarani in his homeland. He went to Malta, play for Birkirkara, went to Iran to play for Machine Sazi, a club that no longer exists. And then Farense in Portugal, and then on to Japan, and now Thailand. I think that board was to show 5 additional minutes. Ben Mazzeo is going to be the late change for City. Daniel Arzani, the man to be replaced.
Substitution for Melbourne City, Arzani.
Ben Mazzeo brings speed and directness for the last few minutes. Bit of a mixed bag for Daniel Arzani tonight. Missing of that big chance on 69 minutes, although I fancy he was offside anyway. One other chance a few minutes later that he blazed over the top of the bar. And in general, both he and Marcus Yunus have found the going tough against this very resolute Buriram defence, which is 4 minutes away as of now from taking a lead back to Thailand next week. This is Supernat. Just caught by Atkinson. Moment, he's the match winner, Bisoli. Was, to be fair, a goal worthy of winning any contest. Is there another one to come? Peter Jules to take the free kick for Buriram. Decent sort of an area. Good strength shown by Robert Jules. Here's his brother. Melbourne City with less than 3 minutes to save themselves, at least tonight. The last touch was off Yunus, so I can only imagine that Peter Zuul has been pinged for a foul. Teague losing out to Ruben Sanchez. Supernat chopped down by Kabian Rahmani. Frustrating night for the home team. They're about to be kept scoreless in back-to-back Champions League matches. It's 0-0 against Gangwon on the final match day in the league stage. Unless there's a late twist here. Bajic. Helped on by Caputo. Mazzeo trying to buzz around and make something happen late on for Melbourne City. That's a clever header though by Schindler. In towards Bisoli. Here he is around the keeper. He goes down. Mark Jackson wants a penalty and looks as though the referee has awarded it. Melbourne City are furious. They believe that Bisoli took a dive. The replay will be instructive. But for now, a penalty is awarded. Is there contact there between Bajic and Bisoli? Bajic says no. Or is it a yellow card for Bisoli? Well, from that angle, the contact looks dubious. Initially, Mark Jackson punched the air in delight in the belief that his team had been awarded a penalty. Instead, it's a caution for Bisoli for simulation. And Melbourne City is still alive. Here's Yunus with the ball, and they've got the goal! They've done it again, Melbourne City! Ben Mazzeo off the bench and onto the score sheet. The late show yet again for Melbourne City, and once again it's a substitute who's done it. Marcus Yunus with the assist. Moments after Buriram thought they should have had a penalty at the other end. Yunus slipped away from his marker and provided the perfect cross. And Ben Mazzeo was on hand at the back post and not in. And it's all square. What is it about injury time goals in this competition for Melbourne City? Time and again, they have done it in this competition this season. Ben Mazzeo, the hero. Aurelio Vidmar sets off on a jig of delight. His team, yet again, have pulled it out of the fire. Right at the death. Another assist for Marcus Yunus to go with his goal and assist against Ulsan. And all that frustration evaporates for City. They're still going to have it all to do in Thailand, you'd sense, next week. But the job now perhaps not quite so difficult as it was looking some moments ago. Just a slight delay before we restart. The goal is confirmed, and now it's a matter of how much more added time there's going to be. We're into the 7th minute of stoppage time already. Well, those City fans are up and about now. And we still can't get the restart taken because a Buriram player keeps straying over the halfway line. Now we're back underway. And we're into the 8th minute of injury time. And it's not too friendly late on out there. Bajic and Ruben Sanchez having a very frank exchange of words, but that is full time. Another remarkable finish. The arguments go on after the full-time whistle, but Melbourne City with yet another injury time goal to extend their unbeaten records in this competition to 7 matches now. Ben Mazzeo, the hero, off the bench, heading home from Marcus Yunus's cross. Prior to that, Guillaume Bissoli had scored a world-class opener in the first half for Buriram. In the second half, in truth, they were fairly comfortable in protecting that lead right up until the 94th minute when Mazzeo popped up to deny them victory. They're probably still the favourites to go through, with the second leg to come at the Thunder Castle next week. A place that Aurelio Vidmar knows well from his time as a coach in Thailand. Disappointment for Neil Etheridge, who didn't have too much to do but was helpless late on as Mazzeo nodded home that Yunus cross. And a rueful look on the face of Mark Jackson. Moments before that, they were appealing for a penalty as Bissoli went down. Late drama in Melbourne, but it's finished all square, and it's all to play for next week in Thailand. Melbourne City 1, Buriram United 1, the full-time score.